Welcome to another edition of the True North Country Comics Podcast, dedicated to promote Canadian comic book creators and supporters. I'm John Swinimer. On this episode, I have another interview from Fan Expo 2017, chatting with chief editor and comic book creator and illustrator Alfonso Espinos. Alfonso founded Studio Comics Press in 2001, publishing the ongoing series The Night Spike. In 2008, he won the Kobash Award for Character of the Year, and in 2009 was nominated for the Joe Shuster Award in the category of Independent Canadian Comic. In this interview, Alfonso talks about the independent Canadian comic book scene, and how Studio Comics is helping to build a new generation of Canadian comics, including a new store. Before I go further, I encourage you to like this podcast on iTunes and check out the TrueNorthCountryComics.com website. Like it on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and discover a lot more information about Canadian comic book creators and supporters. And now, my chat with Alfonso Espinos.
Yeah, one of the things that we do, Studio Comics, for the folks that they don't know, Studio Comics, we are an independent Canadian publishing company. We started back in 1996. And then since then, we have been ongoing publishing titles that goes from science fiction, monsters, and creatures. We have the main title right now. It's called The Night Spike. That is the title that is based on these two superheroes. It's more like comedic superheroes. The story about Spike and Belle. If you want to know more about the characters and the story, it's basically comedic superheroes. They always try to save the world. They never achieve it, but at the end of the day, they always find a way to, go out and do something heroic, I guess. So it's a really fun story. We have also stories such as The Guy with the Crystal Skull, that is more like a science fiction based story. We have The Victory, that is more like an adventure type of a romantic comedy type of thing. We have Dark Blood, that's our horror story. We also have a series, and we have our two books or chapters, Indigo, that one of them is 2010. Or 2010, the story of this futuristic post-apocalyptic, what would happen if the world should end it back in 2010. We also have the superhero adventure called Aljak City, and it's a huge variety of different titles. We are trying to trying to get not as many titles, but as many coverage on all different genres that we can offer to our readers, right? We have a little bit for the kids, we have a little bit for the adults, we have for the ones that they like comedy, we have titles such as Night Spike. We have a local comic book artist named Vince Thompson. He is based on Niagara Falls, and then he also published with us a title called Beanie and Bud. That is pretty much a self-portrait of his life and how his young age. It's an amazing story. He has been doing that for quite some time. So that's pretty much what Studio Comics is all about. If you want to know more about Studio Comics, you can come and visit our website. That's www.studiocomics with an X at the end.com. So it's STUDIOCOMIX.com. And if you want to find more about the new project that we have right now, and you can find more about that on our website, is the movie film called Heroes Manufacture. It's a whole overview of the current Canadian comic book industry and how we're exploring how new creators and what's the new scene on the Canadian comic book industry. So we've been really lucky to have really good response on this film. We have submitted it to we have this film in about 40 different countries right now. We have won about 10 different awards. It's fantastic to know that the movie has been shown coast to coast on different film festivals. And of course, we have the participation of guys like Ty Templeton, Andy Christianblatt, Megan Carter, Andy from A Comics, and of course myself, Alfonso Espinos, who is part of the kind of like one of the main stories within the film. But we also got the chance to collect some cameos with Stan Lee, Kevin Smith, Tia Carrera, Lou Ferrigno. We have voice actors on it, so it's a really good film if you want to start into the new current Canadian comic book scene. Here's Manufacture is there. And I'm really proud to work with Jerome Betan, who was the director of it. And we have the film ready. If you want to find more information, again, studiocomics.com. Or in our Facebook, you can find us through Studio Comics Press. The main thing that we are now moving, that's kind of like for another episode, but, well, now that we have you guys here, we're opening a storefront under Studio Comics, so we're trying to make it as the hub of the independent Canadian comic book creators. We will be specializing on printing comic books, also having a storefront only exclusively for Canadian comic books. I've been in this industry here in Canada now for about 10 years, and most of the guys that we do comics. We know each other, so then it's easy for me to reach to them and, contact them, let them know that this is happening. Most of them, at least 99.9% of the people that I talk to in regards to this project, they are super happy because there's no comic book store that specializes in independent Canadian comic books. You go to one store, and then you find 2-3 titles stashed in a corner, right where nobody can see it, or maybe just covered by the graphic novels that they actually sell, per se. And when you approach the clerks or the people that they work on this, and I don't want to say, I'm originally from Mexico, and this is not I want to say this is a problem, but this is a situation that happens all the time and anywhere, where you go to your comic book store, your regular comic book store, and they are unaware of what is being produced in their own country. So I remember back on the day, 1992 or 94, when I published my very first comic and I bring it to the comic book stores, they were happy. They were, oh my God, this is fantastic. You guys, thank you very much for listening. And if you need anything else, don't hesitate to contact us. We will be there to help you out. Thank you.
Thanks to Alfonso for talking with me. You can discover more about Alfonso and Studio Comics at studiocomics.com. And thanks to you for listening to the True North Country Comics podcast. I invite you to subscribe, like, and comment on the podcast. Please send your feedback to truenorthcountrycomics@gmail.com. Thanks again for listening. Come back soon for another episode. Bye for now.